Mr. Shravan, are we ready to go live? Okay, fine. So welcome once again to this White Army comprehensive clinical classes. In today's session, we have a case presentation about groin swelling by Mr. Ravi Shankar, who is a fourth-year student from Shivamogga Institute of Medical Sciences, Shivamogga. Welcome to you, Mr. Ravi Shankar, and we also appreciate for volunteering this case presentation.
Thank you.
Today's mentors, we have Associate Professor from Bangalore Medical College, Dr. Sunil Kumar. Welcome to you, sir. He was earlier head of the unit and professor at Kuppam Medical College, Andhra. Now, presently, since last 4 or 5 years, he's been the associate professor in Bangalore Medical College. And privileged to have you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kishan.
And also my beloved friend and brother, Dr. Krishna Rao, who is a MCH resident in pediatric surgery at PGI Chandigarh, is also with us today. Earlier he was a consultant in Whitefield Hospital, Bangalore, and a specialist in hernia. He's also with us today. Welcome to you, Dr. Krishna Rao.
Thank you, Kishan. Thank you. Welcome to all the viewers.
Yeah, and welcoming all the White Army members. So shall we start the session with the permission of mentors?
Sure.
Yeah, Kishan, you can start.
Okay.
Yes, Ravi Shankar.
Ravi Shankar, please start the
Yes,
session.
okay, sir. Okay. Good evening, all. Here is a male patient of name XXX, cloth vendor by occupation. He is 84-year-old, hailing from Tippu Nagar, Shivamogga. He was admitted in Meggan Hospital on 21st February 2020, and he was examined on 27th October 2020.
One second. Mentors, we can have it either way, like step by step you can ask them questions, or at the end of the presentation also you can, which way you like it?
Whichever way the Ravi Shankar is comfortable. What do you feel, Ravi Shankar?
Anything is okay, sir.
Oh, how are you comfortable?
At the end, okay.
At the end. Okay, fine.
Present enter case.
If there is anything which is gross, I might interrupt in between. Otherwise, we'll ask in the end.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Presenting with the chief complaint of swelling in the left groin region since 1 year. History of presenting illness. Patient was apparently all right 1 year back. Then he noticed a swelling in the left groin region while he was taking bath, which is insidious onset. Initially, it was a size of pea. Now it progressed to the size of a lemon. The swelling increases in size on walking, coughing, lifting heavy objects, and it disappears on lying down. No history of pain, no history of straining during micturition, no history of change in size of the swelling after micturition, no history of chronic cough, no history of chronic constipation, no history suggestive of raised intra-abdominal pressures like vomiting, abdominal distension, etc. No history of similar swelling on the other side. Past
Okay, Ravi
history.
Shankar, I have a suggestion that we'll move step by step by some people. Why did you ask for constipation, Ravi Shankar?
Because chronic constipation increases intra-abdominal pressure, which may predispose to hernia.
That too specifically you are mentioning chronic constipation. What exact question did you ask the patient?
ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತಾ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿ.
That is a very diffuse question, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah, so what question should have been asked actually? You are interested in straining, intra-abdominal pressure being raised and that relation to this swelling, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so what question you should ask? So, okay, I'll not wait for more. For others, I'm just telling this because constipation does not necessarily means that it is straining at stools. If you see the dictionary, or if you see what is constipation, both it is about the consistency of stools and the subjective feeling of difficulty, plus the decreased frequency, means the person who is passing daily, if he does not pass for 3 or 4 days, that is also constipation. That is the definition. Okay, so if you just diffusely ask that if you have any problem in passing stools, that is a very difficult, means it is not correct question to be asked to the patient and extrapolate to the hernia.
Okay.
Okay, you should ask specifically that he has got any recent history of straining, increased straining. He spends more time in the bathroom when he was spending lesser time comparatively. That's what you would like to know.
Okay, sir.
Okay, the history also tells you are asking a history of straining at maturation. That is correct. So if you had put the question similarly, straining at stools, that would have been a question which was proper, because this is still history.
Okay.
Because majority of these questions, the examiner knows by the time you told hernia, he knows you have already gone through all types of hernia. You are well prepared, mentally well prepared for discussion and all those things. So the main thing in the exam is to know how you arrived at the diagnosis and what was your line of questions, whether it was correct or you are just finishing the rituals. That is what the examiner would like to know.
Okay.
Okay, so all this means I keep telling the students, till you pass, Das is your boss. Okay, so Das has given various questions with a understanding that you should know from each question what you want to know from the patient. So just for ritual sake, you should not ask the questions. That is the point. Okay, this particular slide you are also telling history of pain. So what pain
Yes, sir.
are you interested in this question?
Pain. I was interested in dragging type of pain.
Where? I mean,
Uh,
this particular question, no history of pain. See, he might tell, yes, I have pain in the head. Is it not? The history, though it should not be leading question, you should not ask, is there a dragging pain in your groin? That is the leading question.
Okay.
You should ask, is there any history of pain in which particular region you are interested in? The dragging type of pain, where it comes?
Dragging in hernia, it is a dragging type of pain.
Where is the feeling of pain dragging to the patient?
Abdomen.
Yeah, it is more of abdominal pain because of the contents. So you should not ask a pain in the swelling region. So most of the mistakes happen there. So that's why I'm asking, because the pain is not only indication of the chronicity of the swelling, it is also indicating that it might be irreducibility or partial irreducibility or strangulation, anything. So each type is having a different pain in different conditions. So if he has pain, then you should elaborate on what type of pain, where it gets, what is the exaggerating factor, what is the relieving factor, everything. Okay.
Ravi Shankar.
Yes, sir.
I have few comments. Just come to first slide.
Okay. Sir.
Yeah. When you are telling the age of the patient, you should tell as 84-year-old gentleman. Okay, male is like a little rough term. Okay, gentleman or lady, you can say.
Okay.
Okay, just one correction. Next slide you come. And while mentioning the size of the hernia, now you can say about actually you can measurements like centimeters, you can say, rather than comparing to a pea or a lemon.
Yeah.
Because some examiners make you comment like lemon sizes may vary. Okay. There's one.
What happens is, Ravi Shankar, in exam, this particular thing, if you tell pea or lemon, they will ask what is the standard size of lemon or a pea. Means what I'm telling is you are about to stay with the examiners for probably around 15 minutes or so. Okay, and you will take 5 to 10 minutes for presentation and corrections, all those things. So you will get around 10-15 questions from the examiners. Those questions should be exactly to the case. They are mark shielding questions. Questions like, is it really a lemon or a tomato or a pea? Even if you answer or do not answer, it is not a mileage question. Means it is not going to give you a pass or a fail, or it is not going to increase your mark or reduce the marks.
Okay.
So these are the questions which, if it is asked, you answer it, but better to avoid such areas. You can always tell it was initially very small, later it became to current size of whatever size it is.
No need to mention size, exact size like that.
Yeah, initially I would prefer to tell it is a smaller size. Then later, now probably you can tell it as in centimeters, because there are people, means my co-examiners only keep pulling the students' legs that how did the 84-year-old male who is in somewhere in a rural part measured that swelling when he got
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
So such questions
Ravishankar,
need not.
you can ask him to say approximately how big it was. You can ask the patient, it show in the hands how big it
Yeah.
was, and you can approximately visual
Yeah.
take a measurement, and initially it was 2 into 2 centimeter, now 6 into 6 centimeter.
Okay.
You can ask him to show in his hands, in fingers, how big it was,
Okay, sir.
and you can
Okay.
approximate it. Okay, that's the
Okay.
better way. What
And
your mentors
this
are telling.
P,
Then-
better always P, you avoid it, because in groin, even if you put a P, you cannot appreciate. You know,
okay,
no?
sir.
There are a lot of fat there, so you cannot appreciate a P, definitely. Okay. And Ravi Shankar, sorry, this is just a comment. The way you take the history will be different from what you write in the case sheet. Case sheet is what you have written, that is correct. But when you are when you are telling in front of examiners, you should not read out whatever you have written. It should be more or like you should be telling the case. You should try to
Storytelling, yeah.
talk.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Past history. No history of similar complaints in the past. He is not a case of hypertension, diabetes, asthma, tuberculosis. No history of trauma.
What trauma are you interested in, Ravi?
Uh, uh,
These are questions you should be ready to answer anytime.
okay.
History of trauma, you want to know about any trauma or a particular region?
Any trauma to the groin region.
Okay, if he
Previously.
tells yes, he has got a trauma by something to the groin region, how does it help you to make a diagnosis?
Maybe weakening of the abdominal muscle.
No, you asked a question, trauma to the groin. How can it
Yes.
weaken the muscles of the abdomen? What is the relation to the trauma and the inguinal hernia and weakening of the muscle? What is that which is connecting all this?
Sir, any
What gets injured?
nerve gets injured.
Which nerve?
Iliohypogastric, ilioinguinal.
So that is not ilioinguinal, iliohypogastric are all above. It is in the abdomen.
Abdomen.
And by the time it reaches really the groin, it would have already given the supply to the abdominal muscles.
Okay.
Okay. So what is there in the groin, that exact those nerves are more or less, they are more of sensory in that region. If they really get injured in the groin, there might be some paresthesia or anesthesia in some part of the medial part of the thigh, or a scrotal skin, something like that. Okay.
Okay.
Even if he gets an injury to the groin, it does not really mean to tell that he has got relation to hernia.
Okay.
So the information you want to get is history of trauma to the abdomen muscles.
Abdomen.
And you would also like to know what surgeries he has undergone, suppose if he has. Some means past history, you should take history of previous surgeries,
Surgery.
specifically abdominal surgeries.
Abdomen surgery.
What surgery?
Appendicectomy.
Yeah. On the left side, if you want.
Any for renal cause.
Yeah. Only
Surgery
on
for
left side
renal.
there is not renal. So even
No,
on
both
the right
side.
side there are renal. Both sides, kidney related, kidney related blood, anything means KUB surgeries will go in the loin, which gets in the area of the nerves. Also earlier they used to do lumbar symplectomies.
Hmm.
If you would have read in TAO cases, lumbar symplectomies used to be done. That also comes in that region. Okay, any surgeries in
Okay,
that
sir.
region, even for that matter, any abdominal abscess which was drained, or even a parietal abscess which got drained, that also can
Okay.
injure. Any surgeries in that region. Okay.
Ravishankar, one more comment. Just come back to last slide.
Yes.
Ideally, the hypertension, diabetes, and asthma, they usually last for till the life. So
Yes, sir.
better to comment those things at the end of the history of presenting, not like as a is a not a known case of hypertension, diabetes, asthma.
Okay.
Tuberculosis, yes, you can tell in the past history.
Okay.
And important thing, surgical history is very important.
Okay.
There is no history of surgery in the past, you should mention.
Okay.
Yeah, continue.
Treatment history. He has not taken any treatment for the present complaint. He is not taking any medication. No history of allergy to any drug.
Suppose he was taking some medication. What medications were you interested in?
So I asked it for as a routine history.
Yeah.
If he has taken any medication means during the surgery, because it may interfere with the anesthesia or like that.
Yeah, there are so many things. Like there might be some drugs for which means he would have got some treatment because of the current symptom itself, or if he is taking some neurology drugs or an orthopedics related drugs, which is related either to the nerves or to the muscles, that also indirectly has some effect on the current problem. And for now, anyway, you are anyway planning to take this patient for surgery, so you would like to know what drugs he is on.
Okay.
Okay, so all these things you can tell in that particular heading. Means what is the thing I would like to tell all the people are, when you are taking history, you are taking the history, you are asking the questions, you are writing it down, presenting, it's all fine. But what I am telling is, suppose if the patient tells yes to your question, you should know what is that mean. Like history of allergy to any drug. Suppose he tells yes, what was the inference or what was the importance you will give to that history? You should know beforehand,
Okay.
not after he tells something then you go and search. Okay. Suppose he told he has taken some treatment for the present complaint. You should know what was that treatment he probably would have taken.
Okay.
Okay. What is the importance of that treatment? Anything. So those things you should know. So throughout the history, that is the thing that you should keep in mind.
Okay, Ravishankar, one comment. Just a minute. Like regarding medication, as sir told already, one important thing you have to note is whether he's taking any antiplatelet drugs. Because for any routine surgeries, we'll be stopping those medications prior to few days. Okay, that's one important. Antiplatelet drugs, any history is there. Just for the surgical planning.
Sir, is it
Go
necessary
ahead.
to mention like
No,
anti-platelet drug?
no need to mention. Just I told like any medication. Why you ask for any medication?
Okay.
When the examiner asks, this is the extra point that you can tell.
Okay.
But this takes importance. Suppose he gave history of hypertensive or a diabetic. So they might be on some drugs which will interfere with the anesthesia.
Okay.
So that there it gets more important. Yeah.
Family history. No history of similar complaints in the family. No history of inherited disorders in the family.
Like the same thing. Suppose he told, what question did you pose to the patient? This family history.
ಈ ತರ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಆಗಿತ್ತಾ?
If you tell yes, my father also got, my son also got, what was your it?
Maybe collagen defect.
Yeah, see,
Maybe familial.
yeah. So now everybody, when this particular question was not asked earlier when we were students, somehow it was going on, but now people started asking questions like this. Now collagen vascular disorder is one escape plan. Okay, escape plan. Suppose if the examiner asks, collagen vascular disorder presents as inguinal hernia, yes or no, you don't know, is it not? It is not the
Uncertain.
presenting feature of the collagen vascular disorder.
Yes.
Yeah, so
It
if
may be a risk
you
factor.
are stuck, this is the way out, but that is not the intention of asking. Okay,
Okay.
so this particular history is not really relevant in inguinal hernia per se, but if it is positive, you should not miss it out. That is the idea of putting that family history here. That is more important in hereditary or genetically based diseases. So here, suppose if you get questions like that, not only collagen vascular disorders, any muscular disorders which are inherited like muscular dystrophies, anything is there in history in families, that is important here. Okay. Yeah.
Coming to personal history, patient takes mixed diet. He has good appetite, undisturbed sleep, regular bowel and bladder habits. He has no socio-addictive habits.
Okay. Here, just one small comment that always put it appetite at the first, then tell the diet.
Okay.
It will be more appropriate, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah, some people tell what is mixed diet, means whether he is mixing the diet and eating, or is he eating separately, all those things. Okay, sometimes you might get such questions. It is not in intention to know what is mixed diet really is. If you tell mixed diet, it is understood that you are asking about vegetarian, non-vegetarian diet, is it not?
Yes, sir.
So to avoid that, you can always tell patient takes both vegetarian and non-vegetarian diet while telling the history. While writing, you would have anyway written. Okay. So why this happens is usually the examiners will be sitting from morning till evening and asking the same questions. Usually the typical university examination students will be around 25, is it not, per day?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so after 3 or 4 cases, and in examination everybody will be asking for inguinal hernia and take. So, and usually the out of 6 or 8 cases, 2 or 3 will be inguinal hernia. So there will be repetitively inguinal hernia things will be coming. So sometimes to break the monotony, they will go off the case like that. Okay. So as I told earlier, your intention is to get proper questions so that you can show off your knowledge, your preparedness to the examiner, not to entertain the examiner. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Ravi Shankar, addiction has got any significance in the hernia?
Sir, smoking has got significance. It decreases the collagen synthesis, so weakens the abdominal muscle.
No, Ravi Shankar. It does not really reduce the collagen synthesis. There is a terminology called metastatic emphysema. Have you heard of this?
No, sir.
Yeah, there is a terminology called metastatic emphysema. That means it is emphysema at the metastasis, means some other place. Emphysema occurs in lungs.
Yes.
If the emphysema changes or pathophysiology is occurring somewhere other than lungs, that is called metastatic emphysema. That is a terminology used to denote inguinal hernia in smokers. Okay, so pathophysiology of emphysema, if you can remember, what is the pathophysiology in emphysema?
Emphysema, it is
Okay,
obstructive lung disorder.
Yeah, it's obstructive lung disorder. What is the pathophysiology? Is there is a mismatch between elastase, anti-elastase, then trypsin, antitrypsin, trypsinase, all those things, those enzymes are there. There is a mismatch between that, and that leads to a type of lung disorder where it keeps dilated and not constricting. That's pathophysiology, is it not?
Yes,
So
sir.
that happens similar in these smokers due to smoking. The collagenase, anti-collagenase, elastase, and anti-elastase, the harmony between these things are lost, and that results in weakness of the muscles, and that results in weakness of the muscles in all everywhere, particularly in such cases where there is already some preformed defect that will become evident. That is the reason which is quoted for inguinal hernia in smokers. That's why it is called metastatic emphysema. Okay, there is
Shankar,
no,
anything else with smoking? One thing is like sir told. Anything else you think of? Any other risk factor due to?
COP, it can cause COPD, so
Yeah, very
increase
good.
coughing.
yeah. So that is
Yeah, very
again second hit hypothesis, something like already muscles are weak and the cough increases the intra-abdominal hypertension, then it causes hernia. Also, it is
Why people
important to know this history because he will undergo surgery, and
Yeah.
wound healing is anesthesia related problems. All those things are related to smoking also. So that also
And most importantly in hernia surgeries, treating the cause is important. Okay, if you don't
Okay.
treat the cause and if straight away do surgeries, they will try to recur or relapse. Okay, so we have to avoid suggest the patient to stop smoking or any whatever the causative factors are there. Only then we can go for the definitive surgery. That's in that way also. This all this important
Okay,
to
sir.
know the risk factors and to avoid them. Okay,
Okay, sir.
good going. You're doing very well, Ravi Shankar. Be confident. Okay,
Okay,
okay.
thank
Sir is trying to help you. Okay, be
Okay,
confident.
sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Next.
Summary. Here is a 84-year-old gentleman, cloth vendor by occupation, presenting with the reducible swelling in the left groin region since 1 year. Swelling aggravates on coughing, lifting heavy objects, walking, reduces on lying down without any associated symptoms. No history suggestive of obstruction and strangulation. Probably it is an uncomplicated hernia.
But Ravi Shankar, you somehow forgot the history of obstruction and strangulation in the history, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I asked for pain and then,
Yeah, pain you asked and you told dragging type of pain. That's why I asked there only. Here you should have means you would have asked probably you are not put in the slide. Obstruction related, you would like to ask history of vomiting, history
vomiting.
of
I have mentioned.
constipation or obstipation, and abdominal distension.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Ravi Shankar, you have to give a complete diagnosis at the end sentence. Please just see the last line of your sentence.
Oh, sir,
Probably it is an uncomplicated hernia. It should be like which side, what hernia it is.
sir,
Is it umbilical hernia?
no, sir.
Then
So it can be both inguinal or like that, femoral hernia, like that. I thought.
okay.
Then you could have put it as a groin hernia. It's okay, no
Yeah,
problem.
well.
So I just mentioned just
And side also is important. Which side it is? Okay.
Okay. Physical examination.
Ravi Shankar, any other relieving? It relieves on sleeping. You told any other relieving factor you know in hernia? You told it aggravates on coughing, other things, and relieves on
Yes.
sleeping. Any other?
Lying
Not
down.
in this case or any other in general for hernia. Any other relieving factors you know?
Don't know, sir.
Have you heard about manual reduction by the patients?
Manual
Taxis?
reduction.
Have you heard taxis?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Don't tell this in exam. Better know. Okay. Unless the examiner
Okay.
asks particularly, don't tell this. But better to know this terminology. Okay. Yeah, go to examination.
Physical examination. Here is an elderly male patient, moderately built and nourished, cooperative, well oriented to time, place, and person. Temperature is afebrile. Pulse rate is 76 beats per minute. It's normal rate, a regular rhythm, normal volume and character. Blood pressure was 120 by 80 millimeter mercury. Respiratory rate was 16 cycles per minute. No pallor, no icterus, no cyanosis, no clubbing, no edema, no lymphadenopathy. Coming to local examination, patient was examined.
Where did you examine lymphadenopathy, Shankar?
Sir, I examined means generalized lymphadenopathy.
When do you call lymphadenopathy as generalized lymphadenopathy?
Multiple sites, lymphadenopathy in multiple sites.
Multiple sites is again diffuse answer. You should be more specific.
How many group of lymph nodes? Right?
More than two group of lymph nodes.
More than two group which are not continuous. Okay. Non-contiguous, two groups of lymph nodes, if they are enlarged, you could call it as generalized lymphadenopathy. What is significant lymphadenopathy?
If it is more than lymph node is more than 1 centimeter.
Where? Not all in the body, all over the body. Is it?
Cervical.
Yeah. So anywhere in this region, groin region.
Inguinal lymph nodes.
1 centimeter is okay.
I don't know proper.
Yeah, more than 2 centimeters in inguinal region, because of various reasons, there are reactive lymph nodes which can be enlarged. So more than 2 centimeters is significant. Okay. Not related to hernia, but just I am asking.
Okay.
Plus, there are some comments in general physical examination. It's wise nowadays in current scenario. You should always tell, once you put a general physical examination, you should tell the examiner. You should make it a point to tell that you obtained consent from the patient for examination. Okay.
Okay.
In these times, it is very important for consent, because consent is very important medical legally also. So it also improves your day-to-day practice of obtaining the consent and all those things. Okay, you tell, I obtained the consent for examination, and with this consent you are examined. Okay. And so try to avoid these things like you cannot have temperature and afebrile. Patient is afebrile. Temperature is not afebrile. Temperature means you should have put as some.
I did not measure the temperature.
Yeah. You can always tell patient is afebrile. No problem. That's what I'm telling. While telling out,
okay.
You should polish it in a way it's more presentable and nice to hear. Okay. Yeah.
Ravi Shankar, one more comment in general physical examination. You have to mention BMI of the patient. Okay. And what is the hydration status?
Sir?
And he's an elderly man, and you have to mention the performance status.
Okay, sir.
Performance status.
Okay.
How do you tell performance status? There are various scales, is it not? Karnofsky status. There are some scores. Usually, commonly used is Karnofsky's performance status. So you should follow that.
Okay.
And as told, the hydration is very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
So local examination. Patient was examined in standing position with the exposure from umbilicus up to mid thigh, and consent was taken. Inspection of left groin region. There was a solitary swelling of 4 cross 3 cross 2 centimeter situated in groin region medial to inguinal ligament, extending from mid-inguinal point to pubic tubercle. The swelling is globular in shape with smooth surface and well-defined margin, and swelling is expansile on cuffing and reduced on lying down. No skin changes over the swelling, no visible pulsations, no dilated veins. Surrounding area appears to be normal. A right groin appears to be normal on inspection, and genitals appears normal on inspection. Palpation. All the inspectory
Can we
findings.
interrupt with us? First, shall we go with one step by one inspection?
Okay.
Then
Okay, sir.
in inspection, no? First the exposure of the patient. Okay, you have exposed umbilicals to the mid thigh. So
Yes,
if the
sir.
patient has got a epigastric hernia, you are missing it, no?
Yes, sir.
Ideally, it should be from nipple to mid thigh. Whatever book says, that what was mentioned.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, and even you have to examine the supraclavicular regions also. Better to expose that patient completely
Okay.
and examine. But at least not from the umbilicus to mid thigh, at least. Epigastric hernia. The hernias are known to occur at multiple places. If there is inguinal hernia, there will be chance of having a umbilical hernia or epigastric hernia also.
Okay. Palpation. All the inspectory findings are confirmed by palpation. Palpation of left groin region. No local rise of temperature over the swelling. No tenderness present over the swelling. There was a solitary swelling of 4 cross 3 cross 2 centimeter situated, and it was extending from 1 centimeter above midpoint of inguinal ligament to pubic tubercle. Skin over the swelling is normal with smooth surface and well-defined margin. The swelling is soft in consistency and it is reducible. Deep inguinal, deep ring occlusion test was done. It was done in standing position after reducing the swelling, and result was a bulge is seen medial to the occluded finger. Siemens test, it was done in supine position after reducing the swelling, and impulse is felt on middle finger on cuffing. Ring invagination test is not done. No abnormality found on right groin by palpation, and external genitalia was normal by palpation.
Why the ring invagination test was not done?
Sir, it was painful to the patient, so I did not.
Why it is painful?
He was not allowed, sir.
Oh, then you tell like that. No problem. Patient means you already told that you have got consent.
Yes, sir,
Not.
but
Yeah, patient was not cooperative is okay, because there are some people who tell I did not do because ring invagination test should not be done. All those things are there. That's why. So here it should be done. So what are all things? So okay, you just tell me how you do ring invagination test.
after reduction of the swelling, little finger.
No, don't hurry. So when the examiner asks the question, you should tell what was your position, what was the patient's position, and then which hand did you use? Okay. Then
sir.
what did you do? What was the result? That's how you should tell.
Patient was in supine position. Sir,
Yeah.
Patient was in supine position, and with the I was doing examining on the left side with the left hand. Then after reduction of this swelling with the little finger, invaginated from the bottom of the scrotum and gradually pushed up and rotated, then entered into the superficial inguinal ring. Then the impulse on cuffing should be felt if it is indirect hernia should be.
Don't confuse. Just see, you went through the skin of the scrotum through the superficial inguinal ring, and you rotated outwards and above. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then you ask the patient to cough.
To cough, yes.
Yeah. Later, that is your results, whatever was there. So what are all things you should notice in this particular test?
One thing, direction of the swelling.
Yeah, that is okay. Then
Then cuff impulse, if it is felt at the tip of the finger, it is indirect inguinal hernia.
it's all the
If it
same,
is-
no? Direction and the direction from where the cough impulse you are feeling is the main thing. Along with that, you can also see it barely admits the little finger in the superficial inguinal ring. If that ring itself is patulous, you can also notice that it is patulous. Okay.
Okay.
Along with that, you can also notice the superficial inguinal ring status.
Okay.
Usually, in normal non-hernia patients, you cannot insert your finger through the superficial inguinal ring. Hardly you can put the tip of the finger, not the whole finger. So
Okay.
if you are able to insert itself, means that itself is patulous.
Okay.
Okay. What is the shape of superficial inguinal ring?
Triangular shape.
Yeah, it is usually triangular shape. Somebody is asking why expansile cough impulse only, why not non-expansile? The non-expansile cough impulse is also there. If you now also you can keep your hands on your abdomen and try to cough, you will get cough impulse. That is cough impulse. So that is not telling that you are having inguinal hernia or anything. It is just pressure related. So that is not of clinical importance. If there is anything which is expanding, that is importance for inguinal hernia. That's why you will always tell expansile cough impulse, not only cough impulse. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Continue.
Next, auscultation, vowel sound was not heard, and examination of inguinal lymph nodes. Then
Why did
inguinal
you
lymph nodes.
mention that it is vowel sounds not heard? Or what is that you want to tell?
So actually, to differentiate whether it is enteroceal or the omentocele, we use vowel
Correct.
sound.
But see,
auscultation.
if you
But-
heard anything, you put it. Otherwise, you tell I did not appreciate any sounds. That's
Appreciate.
okay. Because when you tell vowel sounds not heard, then you are telling as if that you are expecting vowel sounds to be heard in that swelling, and you are not hearing it.
Yeah.
So, but
Okay.
it was small swelling.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling. In direct inguinal hernia, if you tell auscultation itself is usually not so appreciable.
Yes, sir.
Only if he stands, you get the swelling.
Okay.
So you try to put it on the swelling.
Instead of not heard, could not be heard, you can tell.
Could not.
Okay.
Okay.
Because if it was small size,
No
could
problem.
not be heard. You can
Could not.
take
Okay.
No
put it that way. You are
Sir,
right. But each word has got meaning. What service meaning is okay. What sir
Yeah.
okay,
means,
sir.
if you say it's a also not heard, it's just like your meaning absent. Okay.
Okay,
Don't
sir.
put it that way.
Sir, then is it necessary to mention percussion in
And
hernia case?
in such a small swelling, in such a small direct hernia, there is no role as such for.
Yeah.
Sir, do they mention for completion purpose or
Yeah,
they
they will
can
mention.
like,
But ideally,
fill-
the trick is you are doing the percussion not on the supine position, only in standing.
Okay. No, if
But
mentioned.
with such a small swelling hernia, direct
Yeah,
hernia, we
there,
can't
there is
appreciate.
no,
Okay?
there is no,
In
there is
indirect
no
hernia and all,
clinical
it has got a
significance.
percussion hospital.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is usually all these things are more important in inguinoscrotal swelling. This is just an inguinal swelling.
Yeah.
Okay.
So next slide. Systemic examination.
You examined the lymph nodes, is it not? In previous slide, you
Yes,
told
sir. Yes,
lymph nodes.
sir.
Which lymph nodes you examined?
Inguinal lymph nodes.
See, Ravi Shankar, what I need you to do is you should be a little more specific when exams are concerned. If you
Okay,
tell
sir.
inguinal lymph nodes, you also have ilioinguinal lymph nodes, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now you're a final year student. You should be everything. You eat for exams, sleep for exams, jump for exams, everything for exams. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So when the question is asked, that doesn't mean they want to know really which one they also know that you are examined superficial inguinal
Sure.
lymph nodes, is it not?
Okay, sir.
So they just want you to tell in the same words. That's all.
Okay.
If you tell just inguinal lymph nodes, it is more diffuse. Again, be more specific. Okay, superficial inguinal lymph nodes.
Okay.
Why did you examine actually?
Means because for any infection.
No, actually, one of the differential diagnosis
Differential diagnosis,
lymph node itself.
yes, enlargement of the
It
lymph
might
node.
also it might be coexisting. Means there might be some other thing. You are examining the patient as a whole, so there might be coexisting diseases which you want to rule out. Okay.
Genitals, what will you look for in genitals examination?
Genital is
You examined or no? You are not put it.
examined.
In inspection, you are
Examined.
told, but
Okay.
in palpation, I didn't see.
Yes, I mentioned, sir.
Okay, what will you look for particularly genitals?
Genital examination of the penis for the any stricture or the phimosis or any pinhole meatus. Then
Very good. So how do you palpate? You know how do you palpate for stricture?
lift the scrotum. Then
Lift the scrotum or
palpate,
penis?
scrotum.
You are also correct, man. Tell, no problem. Whatever you want to tell, you
Lift
tell.
the
No
scrotum
problem.
and for the bulbar urethra.
Okay.
Palpating for the bulbar urethra.
You cannot see, is it not? So how did you examine? You cannot see urethra, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So how? You lifted the scrotum and did what? What did you do? Ideally, it is more of ventral surface of the penis. Okay.
Yes.
The ventral surface of the penis, the urethra runs more superficially. So you should pass your finger, palpating finger, pulp of the palpating finger alongside the ventral surface to feel any strictures, that is small buttonhole deformities you can notice. That is the area of stricture if it is noticeable, because strictures are more or less fibrotic and they will have a small a dimple like feeling when you palpate.
Okay.
Okay, so that is what you want to tell. So one more thing is try to avoid this word any. Usually undergraduates' favorite word is any. Means whenever you are, even for starting from the history, no history of any pain, no history of any that one, like that you go on telling. That becomes an habit, and like here also you told you want to look for any stricture. So any stricture, even if you tell it is stricture, it might be penile urethra or bulbar urethra, membranous urethra. That's why probably I was thinking you wanted to tell about those part of urethra. Okay. Here more of penile urethra you would examine. That is the way of examination of the urethra. Pinhole meatus, all those things you can directly see. Apart from that, what else you will look for in a genital examination?
Look, position of the penis, whether it is deviated or it is in the midline.
So here it is not so important because that is for
Inguinal scrotum.
I told inguinal swellings.
Yes.
Anything else?
If a young patient has come to you, 14-year-old child has come to you, what will you look for?
Whether testis is descended or not.
Okay, that is also true, correct. Undescended testis is one of the differential diagnosis for inguinal region. Also, scrotal hydrocele you should see. Okay, hydrocele you should see, plus testicular sensations are intact. Testis is atrophic or normal in size, or it is increased, it is hard, anything. Okay. See, when you are examining the whole area, it is not particularly. I would also that time I was ready to stop. When you tell about local examination, you should always tell what area you are examining. Here you are examining inguinal region. You told left side of the groin. I started it. That is wrong terminology. You should not tell that thing. Examination the inguinoscrotal region. Okay. So the whole thing, whatever is there in that region, you are examining.
Okay.
So you are examining for, you are screening for common things plus any associated things with this particular disease.
Okay.
One more examination you missed, Mr. Ravi Shankar. You mentioned in inspection, I think again palpation. At the end, it should have mentioned this, especially this pertinent in an elderly gentleman of 84 years, especially hernia like this. Have you examined the right side?
Yes, sir. Right side also I examined, sir. I mentioned in the palpation and
Where you
inspection.
should mention, no?
Yes, I mentioned, sir.
What else you missed?
Because
Something else?
you
Sir,
Some more is there? Some slide is there? Next.
systemic examination.
Yeah,
Ravishankar,
okay,
did you do per rectal examination?
Yes, sir. Per rectal examination not done, sir.
Okay, that's why. Do you think it's an important examination in a hernia case?
Sir, looking for the prostate.
anything
Okay,
else? Anything
why
else?
was not done in this case?
Sir,
Like he's a good. Most likely, he may be having a prostatic enlargement also. 84-year elderly male patient.
yes, sir.
And if you are not treating a prostate and you are just operating a hernia without treating the prostate or BPH,
Yeah.
that hernia is most likely to recur. Okay,
Yes. Okay, sir.
it's very important to.
What else you look for in per rectal examination? One is prostate. Anything else?
Anal stricture.
Very good. Anything else?
Prolapse.
Okay. Or any mass? Okay.
Mass,
Or any
okay.
rectal mass? Okay. You can look for. Okay. Any constricting. Very good.
And per rectal examination, if you are getting a chance, it is always better to do a per rectal examination.
Okay.
Because usually when UG tells per rectal examination is not done, it is understood that you are just sitting in front of the examiner and a lot of patients are there and you don't have a privacy for the patient for examination. So they will let it go. But it's a good habit. Suppose like now you have already examined and got ready in your institute, you should do a per rectal examination. Take some senior self and do a per rectal examination and get to know, because once your examination is over, next day you are going to sit in OPD and see all types of hemorrhoids, all types of prostatomegaly, everything.
Okay.
Okay, you should always do it practically. it
Sunil
will be
sir,
good.
many PGs also attending the session. Please ask them also questions, please. Requesting
sure,
you.
sure.
Every third year PGs also there. They are requesting personally. Okay.
Okay,
Please.
okay. Good.
Kishan,
Ravishankar, you don't mind, okay? You try
Okay,
to
sir.
answer them, not targeting you,
Okay.
okay? Don't mind.
Okay. Okay.
rather than using a per rectal examination, you can mention as a digital rectal examination. And usually,
Okay,
that
sir.
will be a cloud hand. We use our digits and examine the rectum and fund the digital rectal examination you can mention.
Okay, sir.
For the sake of students, I am just telling, per rectal examination is, as you rightly put, it is a systemic examination. It is just like a system. Any systemic examination, you are going to put it in subheadings like inspection, palpation, percussion, and auscultation, is it not? So
Okay.
here also, per rectal examination has inspection. You will see what is the sphincter or any external scars are there, fistulas are there, all those things. And you will do palpation, that is digital rectal examination. Before that, you will also see a sphincter just by a gentle tap, whether it is reacting, hyper reacting, or not reacting to the extent where it is expected. And then you do the, as Das has given, you will put your pulp of the finger and insert gently, and 180 degrees this side and 180 degrees that side.
Okay.
That is the whole digital rectal examination. And if at all any pathology is felt, you will try to move the mucosa over that to see whether it slides or not. By that, you will know it is involving the mucosa in cases of malignancies or some warts or anything, or it is just like BPH, which is extra luminal, then the mucosa slides. That's how you will comment on the mass. Then you will come out and do a proctoscopy.
Okay.
So the percussion and auscultation are not there here. So proctoscopy is the next thing. So all these things put together, it is per rectal examination. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the common positions of the patient during the DRE or proctoscopy? Common position. Ravishankar,
Sir, don't know, sir.
have you heard
Go
Sims
to the
position?
OPD, Ravishankar, left lateral position. Okay, left lateral with the left leg extended and right leg or knee and hip slightly flexed. That is also called Sims position. Okay. Sometimes,
Why Sims position?
Yeah.
Anyone? Why Sims position? Why is
muscles
it?
Muscles are relaxed at that position.
Any better term more than muscles? You know what is the shape of the rectum normally? What's the shape of the rectum? It's a curved canal, right?
Yes, sir.
Canal. Convexity, concavity. They say in that position, Sims position, the rectum almost becomes straightened towards the umbilicus. Okay, we can view
Okay.
better. We can see better. Sunil
Okay.
sir, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Next slide.
Coming to systemic examination, para-abdominal examination, no scars are found on the abdomen. Tone of abdominal muscle was normal. Abdomen was soft to palpate. In pararectal examination was not done. Examination of cardiovascular system, S1 and S2 were heard and no murmurs. Examination of respiratory system, normal vesicular breath sound was heard. Examination of central nervous system, no abnormality detected.
What are Malgagnis bulgings?
Sir, because of the
where they are?
in the
They are
groin
bulging,
region,
says it not. The name itself tells
Groin.
they are bulges. So where is the bulge?
groin region, sir, due to decreased tonicity of the abdominal muscle.
How do you check for it?
By leg raising and shoulder raising or head raising test.
Okay.
What is the idea of doing this head raising, leg raising, all those things?
One thing for this looking for it increases the tonicity of the abdominal muscle, means
those muscles are used plus the intra-abdominal pressure raises.
raises.
So if at all any weakness is there, it will be more apparent. Yeah, okay.
Diagnosis, it is an incomplete, uncomplicated direct inguinal hernia on left side. P3M according to European Hernia Society classification.
What is that? Can you please describe? P3M?
P means it's a primary hernia. Then it is more than 3 finger breadth, more than or equal to 3 finger breadth, and M for the direct hernia, that is medial to.
It's not more than 3 finger breadth, more than 2 finger breadth, because one finger is considered 1.5 centimeter. Okay.
Okay.
So if the defect is 3 centimeter, then you say it's more than 2 finger breadth. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Then what is M?
M for it is hernia is medial to inferior epigastric artery.
What is that?
Direct inguinal hernia.
Oh, what are the other possibility in European classification? P or another is?
P or R, recurrent
What's
hernia.
R?
Recurrent
Very
hernia.
good. M or what are the?
M or
L and
F. Femoral indirect hernia.
Okay, fine, good.
What are the other systems which are commonly used to describe hernias?
Other classifications, yeah.
Gilbert classification, then Nyhus classification,
yeah,
and then Benda-Witt classification.
Yeah, very good. So it shows that theory you are reading for exams. So not so much is not necessarily actually. Gilberts and Nyhus are commonly used, and they are better to be used post-operative area, means because the defect size only the surgeon can probably notice correctly. Yeah, intraoperatively you can better always admit 1 finger, 2 finger, all those things can be better appreciated. Okay. Here clinically you can tell, but it will usually change the intraoperative setting. Okay.
Supposedly it is a indirect hernia. Okay, indirect inguinal hernia. What would have been your diagnosis? Can you please tell the complete diagnosis in case of inguinal hernia? Sorry, indirect inguinal hernia. What are the other points? Here we agree with you. Good diagnosis. What are other points?
I did not get, sir. Means
no.
What are the points?
Hernia suppose was coming lateral.
Okay.
Yeah.
According to classification. Like that.
No. I mean to say in diagnosis, you have to write some 6 to 7 points. Okay. Which side, which type, and all those things. Here in direct, we agree. It's here. It's okay because it's a very small swelling. In other big swellings, you have to also write about the what is the possible content.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Enterosil or
What's the
omentocele?
possible momentocele or enterocele? How do you say it's enterocele?
Enterosil means it is smooth in consistency. Omentocele means granular
Okay.
in consistency.
Enterosil is smooth and elastic.
Elastic. That's it.
Yeah. And while reducing, what
Then
happens?
reducing first part reduces easily in enterocele. In omentocele, first part reduces with difficulty.
No, it's ulta.
Yeah,
Ulta
ulta.
you're telling.
Yeah.
Okay.
So nearing exam, usually it happens. You will remember all ulta.
See,
That's
Ravishankar.
okay.
Yes.
Because know the reason, then you'll not forget. Okay, know the
Yeah,
reason
okay.
why it happens.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, Ravishankar.
Sir.
Your momentum is known to get stuck. If, for example, in appendicitis, the momentum comes and gets stuck near the right iliac fossa. Say similar way, when it comes to hernia, if the content of the hernia is momentum, it tries to get stuck in the hernial sac. So, okay. So
Okay.
first part will reduce easily, then
Okay.
later part will be difficult to reduce.
Okay.
And in the ulta, other ways in the enterocele. It is first
Okay.
part is difficult to reduce, but as the bowel starts reducing, it is easy to reduce at the later parts.
Okay.
what are the types of direct hernia?
Sir.
No, what are the types of indirect hernia? Sorry, what are the types of indirect hernia?
Indirect, complete and incomplete, and
Okay.
then in incomplete, bibonocele.
Mhm.
Uh,
And what is bibonocele?
Bibonocele, if it is confined to inguinal canal, then next funicular means it just comes out of superficial inguinal ring.
So
Complete means
can this be a funicular hernia?
I think it might be a bibonocele.
Okay, can it be a bibonocele? Okay,
Yes.
can it be bibonocele?
In
How do you
direct,
say? What I mean to ask is, how do you say it is a direct hernia? What are the points in favor of you telling it's a direct hernia from your history and examination?
Okay.
All the
In
points.
deep in ring occlusion test.
From the history only you should try to tell.
From history, age,
Okay.
everything.
Okay. One thing, age of the patient, it is
Very
elderly
good.
patient. Then
Very good.
duration, by duration, indirect, most of the time indirect duration is less. Since it is a long duration, it could be direct.
You're telling
But
history only since 1
not
year.
so important. Yeah.
Nothing of that sort. Okay.
Yeah. Mainly age factor you have to consider. And
Preformed,
exam.
so I thought that preformed sac in indirect.
Mhm.
Okay.
What is
So
pantaloons hernia?
don't get into all those things, preformed sac, all those things. There is nothing in the inguinal region, so it cannot be preformed sac, all those things. So what is there for your diagnosis is age. As elderly age group, muscle strength is reducing, so it is more common. That's all enough. Don't get confused.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next.
What else?
Where was the swelling? Where did it appear?
Then
appeared
it
medially or
appeared
laterally?
appeared medial.
Yeah.
Medially, then site of the swelling that favors for inguinal.
It is not inguinoscrotal. It has remained inguinal region only.
Okay.
That is in your favor. It is direct.
Okay.
Usually indirect hernias over the time it will somehow descend to the scrotum. Is it not?
Scrotum.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What are the things
on
in your
examination?
favor you should tell off?
Okay.
Yeah.
On examination, what are your points in favor?
Then
Tests you have done, no?
cough impulse.
Okay,
Yes,
no.
sir.
I'm telling why direct. Okay, cough. What are the cardinal features of hernia? Tell me.
Cardinal features: impulse on coughing is
Very good.
positive. Then it is
Hmm.
reducible.
Okay, that means it's hernia. It's not hydrocele, or it's a hernia. Okay, fine.
Hernia.
So now I'm telling you why it's direct hernia only. Only points in favor of direct hernia. You tell me.
During cough impulse by inspection, in direct hernia, it just pops out of the in the groin region. In indirect means it comes out, then it goes medially, then downwards.
Okay.
Then by palpation in a ring occlusion test, when deep inguinal ring is occluded,
Very good.
after the cough impulse, swelling appears on the medial side of the
Very good.
occluded finger.
Okay. Second thing.
Then
Zeeman test.
by Zeeman test, impulse is felt in the middle finger.
Very good. Okay. And if you have done a ring invagination test.
Ring invagination test, impulse is felt in the pulp of the finger.
Okay. So this is how you will summarize. Okay. Questions will be like, see, point by point you will tell. But once if you ask like this to summarize, you should be able to summarize. All these things you should be mentally prepared. All these questions will be pakka asked. So mentally prepared with all these points ready, not going in front of the examiner and thinking about all these points. Okay. Why we ask is just to give a insight how the exam will be. All this. That's why we are bringing all the examiners. Sunil sir and all seasoned examiners. There is high chance that he will come to Shivamogga. So from now only, if you get exposed, it's better, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So most of the people in chat, they are asking what is the correct order of diagnosis.
Yes, sir. Please, if you could tell them, yeah.
There is no particular order. See,
no, 6 points are there, no, sir. 6, 7 points.
Correct. So on the left side is the last. Usually, majority of the people will tell left-sided. In the first means which side is the first thing which comes there. So that side and all the other adjectives you will add, and last the inguinal hernia will come. Usually, some people, left-sided.
For example,
left-sided,
direct or indirect?
direct inguinal hernia. That should be enough. You can
complete
add,
or incomplete. You can tell.
Then
inguinal or femoral.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how it goes.
Okay.
Indirect inguinal hernia usually adds up with either it is reducible or irreducible, complete or incomplete, and then
what's the probable content?
Whether it is uncomplicated, you can add it as uncomplicated indirect inguinal hernia or indirect inguinal hernia with no complications. Both are okay.
With probable content also, it's probably containing intestine as the content. Okay, that probably that you should mention. Okay.
And the questions are asked usually at this point, what are the types of hernia? So students should not jump and answer that indirect and direct or inguinal and femoral, all those things. See, listen to the question carefully. Usually that particular, at this point, usually they will ask what are the clinical types of hernia. So by this time, see, you would have already forgotten there is a book called Bailey and Love. And Bailey and Love clearly gives there are 5 types of clinical types of hernia.
Yes.
So he has already assumed all are inguinal hernias by default. So there, reducible inguinal hernias, irreducible, then obstructed, strangulated, all those. Okay. So they are clinical types of hernias. So like earlier Kishan asked what are the types of hernia, you told direct and indirect. So if you are jumping, you should be more smarter and you tell depending on the presentation, it is direct or indirect, or depending on the extent of swelling, you will tell complete or incomplete, bubonocele, funicular hernia, all those things. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So there should be some basis for each classification.
Okay.
Yeah.
Define hernia.
Hernia, it is an abnormal protrusion of viscus or a part of viscus to an opening with the sac covering it.
So don't add too many adjectives. Through the wall containing it, enough, that's all.
Okay.
Sac or no sac, all those, there are some controversy. Like epigastric hernia does not have a sac.
Yeah.
So the definition does not hold there, is it not?
Okay.
The wall, if
it's
the
a
part
protrusion
or whole
of a viscus or part of it.
Part of viscus.
Okay, through a normal or abnormal opening in the containing cavity.
Okay.
Okay, that is in hernia in general. It can be inguinal hernia, it can be wherever it's diaphragmal hernia, anywhere. Okay, or in the chest, any cavity. Okay,
Okay,
in
sir.
hernia in general, if they ask you, then if they come to inguinal hernia, like sir told, you can mention all of the direct what are the 5 types of hernia, all those things. Okay,
Okay. Okay, sir.
sir,
Okay, Ravi
shall we
Shankar,
proceed?
what? Yeah, we will proceed with the management
Management.
part.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
How do you
Sir,
proceed now? Okay, your diagnosis is a direct inguinal hernia, 84-year-old
Yes, sir.
gentleman. How do you manage now?
Investigations to be done, like sir,
Go on, go on.
sir, like blood investigation, like hemoglobin, then serum creatinine, blood sugar level, then renal
At
function
this
test.
point, I would like to tell students by this time, see, you are already exam going. So you should be knowing at par, you should not go hemoglobin, TCDC, urine, stool, all those things. So that is the way you remember usually. But
Yes,
a student and good student, there should be some difference. So a good student should tell you are doing all these things for screening, is it not?
yes, sir.
Pre-operative screening. You are screening for common diseases like hernia, or sorry, anemia, or any cardiac problems, or is age related. So he might be having any hypertension, diabetes, all those things you are doing. That is not
Yes.
having any impact on the disease per se, but
Yes.
it is important for the patient's well-being, for surgery or anesthetic evaluation, all those things. So you will tell, I will do some screening examination. Don't tell, the commonly done mistake is I will do routine examination. Immediately the examiner tells, your routine is different, my routine is different.
Okay, sir. Okay.
This is very, means from ages it is coming the same
Yeah,
same
yeah.
way. Usually the
Yes.
same dialogue comes, and immediately they will tell the internal, they will see, sir, your routine might be different, sir. Yes, sir, and they will start cracking some joke. So you're losing your importance. Okay. So you
Okay, sir.
tell, I will do some screening examination investigations. If there are some diagnostic examination, diagnosis related examination, you will do it. So here anyway, HPTC, DC, all those things you will do. That is part of screening you are doing. Okay. So here, what is important is ultrasound, abdomen and pelvis.
Abdomen, pelvis.
Why?
Why?
Because so look for the prostate.
Very good. Anything
Then-
else?
Content of the hernia. Content of
okay.
the hernia.
It
How
can
does
be-
that will help you? Whatever the content, how does that will help you? See, by doing some investigation, that should help you in manage treatment, no?
Yes, sir. No, if
If
it's
it's a-
any,
If it's appendix, if it's bladder, whatever it is, huh?
pantaloons, in case of pantaloons hernia, there may be double
What's this
sac.
pantaloons hernia?
It's a type of hernia which has two sacs, one medial and lateral.
Okay, you mean to say both direct and indirect. So
Yes,
that
sir.
doesn't matter. We will find it intraoperatively and we will solve both the things at once.
See,
Put the
Ravi
mesh and
Shankar, one more thing
Sorry.
is, don't give too much importance for the radiology here. They are all shadows. Okay. Mainly,
Okay.
no radiologist or a sonologist does scans with the patient in the standing position. Is it not?
Okay. Yes, sir.
The minute the patient lie down, all the hernia, sac, everything is gone.
Okay,
If
sir.
he tells there is a inguinal hernia, that's more than enough. But in
Okay.
this patient, if the radiologist tells there is a inguinal hernia, he is a great radiologist. Because there
it's
is
so
no
happens. It
radiology.
happens, sir,
Yeah.
with me so many times with a varicocele, especially. I make
Yeah.
clinical diagnosis varicocele and radiology report comes as normal. So
Correct. Correct.
because when the
That-
patient lies down, now all the this becomes smaller.
Yeah, correct. So if
All this
you are
clinical
suspecting, you should write a diagnosis and send. Then they will do some Valsalva and see whether reflux is there. Otherwise, they will not do. So if
Okay,
you just routinely send or patient over the phone ask something and get a scan done, it will be normal only.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So here you would like to see whether he has got age-related problems like prostatomegaly, and you will see what is the residual urine he has got, post-voidal residual urine. So there might be
150,
prostate enlargement even without symptoms also. So
Hmm.
just because prostate is enlarged, you are not going to do anything. So if he has got symptom, you will also see that part. plus how much residual urine is there after voiding of the urine. That is important. Plus size of the prostate, and you will also see whether that prostate might have benign or malignancy. If it is appreciable in the scan, that's well and good. Plus
Okay,
if
sir.
any other means is 84. If you
Ah.
look in any oncology topic, all the oncology diagnosis increase after 60 years. So
Yeah.
you will also see anything is there apart from this. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So other than that, it is a clinical diagnosis. So you are doing only to rule out
Any
the
abdominal mass is there, you can look for. Okay, any ascites or a mass is there, you can look for.
Okay.
And any other investigation?
Chest X-ray.
Very good. Okay, very good. And ECG maybe. Okay, ECG may be required at this.
At this point, if you would have told that I will do screening examinations like, and you would have told some blood. So some investigations, if you have forgotten, you already told it broadly that I will do some screening examination. So like chest X-ray, you would have forgotten. Examiner cannot tell that you forgot because you already told I will do common screening things. Okay, that is one advantage. Yeah. Okay. You have done. Patient is fit for surgery.
Okay.
Is there any conservative management for this?
No conservative management.
Yeah. So there might be some luring questions that patient is not willing, whether you will give trust, all those things.
Patient is not willing for surgery. What will you do? What will you suggest?
Sir, surgery.
And it's uncomplicated hernia.
But it can undergo complications. So counseling the patient. Patient.
Correct.
Very good.
There might be some misleading questions like patient is not well, he wants to come later, all those things.
Okay.
So those are not
If the patient is not fit for anesthesia and it's uncomplicated, then there is a role of something called truss. Okay, it's just like underwear. Okay, but don't mention unless it's all asked. Okay, by the examiner specifically.
Okay.
Okay. What is the mainstay of treatment is operation only.
Operation.
Now I'll give a scenario. This patient has now prostatomegaly with a significant post-voidal urine more than 70 ml, and he has got a direct inguinal hernia, left-sided.
Okay.
What treatment you will do now?
Sir, in same sitting, correction of the inguinal hernia and prostate.
Okay. What do you do? Tell me. What operation you do? Be specific.
What is a common surgery which is done for prostate, benign prostatomegaly?
Sir,
have you heard TURP?
Transrectal resection of prostate.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that you do first. After that, hernia. For hernia? What surgery you do, Ravi Shankar?
Liechtenstein tension-free herniaplasty.
Okay. What is that?
First herniatomy is done, then mesh repair is done.
Ravi Shankar, for this case, herniatomy is not required. Okay, the direct inguinal hernia.
Why you do herniatomy? Tell me first. No. Why you tell me why you do herniatomy?
So opening the sac.
Okay. That is for which sac you open in herniatomy? Usually. Which sac? That indirect, persistent process vaginalis sac is there, no?
Okay. Okay, sir. That indirect hernia.
That we open up and fix it, transfix it, and cut it.
Okay.
That's herniatomy. Here for direct hernia, if there is sac also, we don't open it usually. We just put it inside. Very good. Okay.
Reducing and mesh
So
repair.
What is that called? After herniatomy, okay, you're right. If there can be sometimes that sac will be there, indirect sac, that you can do herniatomy or you need not. Okay. After that, after herniatomy, next step.
Hernioplasty.
Before that, anything you want to do is such a big.
Release.
You're right. Maybe. Such a big defect is there, or abdominal wall weakness is there. Anything you want to do extra? You told you will reduce the sac, direct sac. What will you do?
Then
reconstruction of the post-abdominal wall. That's called herniorrhaphy.
Herniorrhaphy.
See, all these things
okay, then reinforcement.
There is herniatomy, which is done in pediatric hernias.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, you should not mention in adult hernias. So in surgery exam, you are not going to mention anything about herniatomy.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, is
Herniatomy,
hernia,
if it is done, it is a part of some other procedure like herniorrhaphy or hernioplasty. So that
sir,
is not a,
herniorrhaphy,
yeah,
sir,
herniorrhaphy. Yeah,
and
tell me.
hernioplasty can be done together.
Herniorrhaphy, I'll tell you. Herniorrhaphy is repair of the hernia. See, there are some PGs also here. For exam sake, if you just want to remember, you want to forget everything and remember only some things about hernia is posterior inguinal wall. This is one thing. If you want, you can write down and keep it. If you don't know anything in hernia, the answer is posterior inguinal wall. Okay.
Okay, sir.
There is something called Kurutpata. We used to get some Kurutpata in mathematics for CET, all those. So if you remember these things, majority of the answers are correct. So like that. Okay, blind lessons. If you don't know anything, the answer is posterior inguinal wall. What is posterior inguinal wall? You know. It is internal oblique, transverse abdominis, and conjoint tendon, with along with their fascias. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I will tell you, for example, what is inguinal hernia? I will ask. It is a defect where in the posterior inguinal wall. Okay.
Okay, sir.
What is herniorrhaphy? Rhaphy means repair.
Repair.
Repair of
Posterior
posterior inguinal wall. Plasty means
suturing.
reinforcement.
Reinforcement.
Reinforcement. Okay. Reinforcement of posterior inguinal wall.
Okay.
Okay. Anything, the answer is posterior inguinal wall.
Okay, sir.
Okay. You keep that in mind. And herniorrhaphy is repair without any foreign bodies like mesh or anything. Okay.
Okay.
You are not
Just
using anything. It is
approximation of the
it is the
inguinal
same
ligament
thing.
and the conjoint tendon. Okay, we just repair.
Okay.
Approximation. Okay,
Okay.
so that's the
So
reconstructing
for
the post abdominal
exam
wall.
purpose, you should know what is bassinis, what is Scholtes.
Yes.
Okay, since we are running almost near time, so I
No,
will
no, sir,
not
we
make.
have time. We have time.
Sir,
Okay, yeah,
in Bassinis, conjoint tendon is sutured with the inguinal ligament
correct.
with the interrupted suture.
Okay,
Then in shoulders, conjoint tendon is sutured with the
forgot.
Cooper's.
No problem. Okay, for exam you should know what is bassinis, what is Scholtes. You told correctly, but there is a slight thing that everywhere, wherever you read, you have not read bassinis. You always read modified bassinis, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what is bassinis is opening of the posterior. Thing I told you, the answer is same, posterior inguinal wall. Okay. Opening of the posterior inguinal wall and then suturing, that is bassinis.
Okay.
Okay. If you do not open the posterior inguinal wall, commonly what we tell is modified bassinis. If somebody tells, immediately the next question is what is the modification? Nobody knows. What is the modification? Not opening the posterior inguinal wall is the modification.
Okay.
See, already surgeons knew that that particular wall is already weak and it is called hernia.
Okay.
Okay, so already weak wall is there and you open it and suture it and do a double layer, triple layer, all those things. You are already making the wall more weak. That's why they stopped opening the posterior inguinal wall, and that is called modified bassinis. Means whichever Rhaphy you do without opening the posterior inguinal wall became modified bassinis. It might be anything. Okay.
Okay.
So it is just like before Christ and after Christ. After Christ, anybody came, it is after Christ only.
Okay.
Like that. Okay. So if you do not opening the posterior inguinal wall, that is modified bassinis. So conjoint tendon, inguinal ligament. Shoulders is three layered repair.
Okay.
You should remember 2 layer. Why? Because I told you everything is posterior inguinal wall. Posterior inguinal wall has 2 layers in that, and anterior inguinal wall, that is external oblique, has 2 layers as 1 layer here. So 3 layers, 2 posteriorly, 1 anteriorly. What are the 2 posterior layers is? One is transversalis fascia is overlapped.
Or in the conjoint.
Okay, double breasting manner. That means one over the other, just like the shirt, one over the other, and 2 layers of sutures are taken. So that becomes 2 suture lines and 1 layer. That is double breasted.
Okay.
transversalis and transversalis. Okay. In books, there will be a lot of things like lower edge of the upper leaf and lower leaf. Some things, terminology is there. Don't get confused. The posterior inguinal wall is open and it is overlapped over one another.
Okay.
Okay. That is one first layer. Second layer is again conjoint tendon and inguinal ligament.
Okay.
Okay. That is second layer. So 4 layers of sutures. Third layer is external oblique is again double breasted. So total 6 suture lines, 3 layers of double breasting. That is Scholdi's.
Okay.
These two you should know. It is more of, they are like pioneers in hernia surgery. You should remember. Plus, as a UG, you should remember whether they are following or not. These principles are followed everywhere. That's why you should know both Scholdi's and Bessinis. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Bessinis is single layer. Scholdi's is 3 layer. Original Bessini opened the posterior inguinal wall. Modified Bessinis, all techniques do not open the posterior inguinal wall. So Lichtenstein's, what you told, Lichtenstein tension-free hernioplasty do not open the posterior inguinal wall. That means it is also modified Bessini technique.
Okay.
Okay. So if you put a mesh, that particular procedure is called hernioplasty. So wherever you are putting the mesh, depending on that, what is the approach? The hernioplasties have taken their own names like Nayas repair, Stoppa's repair, then Lichtenstein, then all laparoscopic repairs, all those things are there.
Okay.
Okay.
So then, sir.
I'll ask you one more question, Ravi Shankar.
Yes, sir.
What is this? You told Lichtenstein's tension-free hernioplasty, is it not?
Yes, sir.
What is tension-free in tension-free hernioplasty? See, I already told the answer. If you don't know the answer, the answer is always posterior inguinal wall.
Well, yes, sir.
Yeah. See how it works. Okay.
Yes, sir.
If you do not know the answer is posterior inguinal wall.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So what is tension-free here is posterior inguinal wall. That means those walls are not like Scholdi's putting double layer or Bessinis suturing over that with steel wire, nylon, all those things. Nothing is done.
Yes, sir.
Just it is reduced, and if at all the ring is very large, it is sutured and made narrow. That is called Little's repair, LYTLE, Little's. That is narrowing of the deep inguinal ring if it is required. Otherwise, just put a mesh and fix it to the inguinal ligament, pubic tubercle, and conjoint tendon.
Okay.
That itself is called Lichtenstein's tension-free hernioplasty.
Okay.
Okay. So
Sir,
Any laparoscopic approach, you know? Have you heard? Any laparoscopic
yes,
approach?
tap and taps.
What are those? Just tell the full form enough.
Sir.
You will tell the examiner like this: a tap and tap.
No, sir.
They'll slap.
Total extraperitoneal.
Okay, very good.
Hernia repair. Then transabdominal
pre-peritoneal.
Pre-peritoneal repair.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
For the sake of PGs, I'm just telling this. These are called endoscopic hernia repair, not laparoscopic hernia repairs, because laparoscopy means visualization of the abdomen using camera. Like laparotomy means opening of the abdomen. So this particular TEP, which is totally extraperitoneal, does not go inside the abdomen. So it really, by definition, is not laparoscopy. It is an endoscopy. So though it is endoscopy, on large scale, it is called laparoscopic hernia repairs. There are 3 types. One is, as it is told, totally extraperitoneal, transabdominal preperitoneal. Another is IPOM, intraperitoneal onlay mesh. Okay, intraperitoneal onlay mesh, that is IPOM, which is not widely performed, but in some conditions where you do not have any planes or very large thing and some muscular problems are there, all those things, just put a biodegradable, means non reacting mesh inside the abdomen and just put some tack somewhere and keep it. That is intraperitoneal. Usually all these meshes should not touch the intestine, so that they should not cause intestinal obstruction by causing strictures, all those things. So that particular meshes are a little costly. So they do not react with or they react very minimally with the human tissue. So they are put inside the peritoneum and tagged. That is intraperitoneal onlay. These things are not intraperitoneal, extraperitoneal. See, both TEP and TAP are in the same plane. That is extraperitoneal. One is called preperitoneal, another is called extraperitoneal. It's all the same. From the other way, it is preperitoneal. From this side is extraperitoneal. Outside the peritoneal, that is before the peritoneal. That's all. Only the approach is once you come inside the abdomen, open the peritoneum and go out. That is trans-abdominal preperitoneal. Totally extraperitoneal means you will not breach the peritoneum, directly come to the peritoneum, extraperitoneal layer. That is the two common.
Ravi Shankar, next set of questions will be in lab for you all. Today we will not discuss anyway. Be prepared. What is triangle of doom? What is triangle of pain? What is corona mortis? What is sublay? What is inlay? What is onlay? Everything will be asked. If you answer like this, everything if you answer, then these are the next set of questions. Be prepared for all these. Okay. In lab, especially PGs, these are the inevitable and invariably asked questions for PGs. Be prepared. And Ravi Shankar, why do you think we put a mesh there? How does it help? Why in Lichtenstein's you told we put mesh? How does it help?
So it reduces the recurrence of the hernia.
No, how? Yeah, you are right. How?
Because fibro.
Very good.
Aseptic inflammation. So aseptic inflammation.
Any foreign body.
Foreign body.
Okay, induces. Yeah, aseptic inflammation and fibrosis takes place. Okay, so that's how. What are the complications of surgery? Hernia. What is the hernia surgeries? Complications commonly.
It's divided into pre-operative, operative, and post-operative.
Hey, the question is post-operative complications.
Sir.
Complications of hernia surgery.
Okay, sir. Early complications and late complications. In early complications, hemorrhage, then injury to the nerve.
Which artery commonly?
Inferior
Which artery we usually
inferior epigastric artery.
Still deeper bites? Yeah, still deeper bites. What is there? When femoral and injured, okay, femoral vessels. You should be very cautious while taking the bites. Okay. Next.
Then late complications like paresthesia over the thigh, then medial thigh, then recurrence of because of the injury to the ilioinguinal nerve. During
maybe injury, or it may get stuck in between the mesh also. That's a very what's a dreaded complication called inguinodynia. Have you heard inguinodynia?
Yes, sir.
Chronic pain even after the surgery. Okay, because it gets entrapped in between the meshes on the sutures. So we should be very careful. Okay, either retract it laterally and keep in the beginning itself. Ilioinguinal nerve. Okay, sir. What you prefer, sir? Using cold scissors, you cut, you preserve the inguinal nerve, or you cut the inguinal nerve during surgery? Sunil, sir.
Yeah, usually it is preserved unless it is means already stuck and fibrosed. All those, it is preserved. What happens if you cut it? Anybody? I will see.
You told Ravi Shankar.
Ilioinguinal nerve is there, and I will hook it and I will cut it. What happens?
So paresthesia over the medial aspect of the thigh and the root of the penis.
Don't tell muscles will become weak. Already, as I already told, it is already come out of the abdomen, and before that only it has supplied the muscles. Okay, there will be some amount of hypoesthesia or paresthesia near the root of the scrotum and medial part of the thigh.
What other complications you're telling? Okay, hemorrhage, paresthesia.
Recurrence of the.
Just one comment, Kishan. Even if you cut the ilioinguinal nerve, there may be mild rate of paresthesia, and it usually improves over time. And even if the nerve is coming in your way of placing a mesh, or if it is coming in the dissection, you can cut it also. It's better
using
to
cold
cut
scissors,
rather than
preferably. Otherwise, neuroma formation.
Okay.
There are two schools. This is always controversial, and two schools of thoughts are there. We'll not go into the details. So, but always better to preserve if possible.
Preserve, First option should be always preserving. Entrapment is a dead complication.
If you're cutting, using cold scissors, you can cut to prevent the neuroma formation. Okay. Anyway, recurrence. You're telling about recurrence. What are the causes for recurrence?
So recurrence maybe pre-operatively bad selection of the
Very good.
patient.
Either
Like he
either
has
patient factor or technical factors.
technical.
Okay. Patient
He
factor
may
will be a
be
bad selection.
a chronic cough, or he may have BPH like that. Then in
So
operative
positive factor
causes,
not treated. Okay, very good.
then in operative causes faulty technique. Then
Usually, what is a common fault which is done in surgery? Technique is not faulty technique itself.
So then if hernioplasty is not done just by reduction, or
No, that is okay. Means herniorrhaphy has got higher recurrence when compared to hernioplasty. That is okay. Hernioplasty now commonly done. Nobody does herniorrhaphy unless it is no very much necessary or very contaminated
Very big
area.
defect.
All those things. So,
So
now
then if
everywhere mesh is used. Okay.
size of the mesh is less, means
Yes, number one. Common more than that is not proper fixation.
okay.
For the sake of PGs, this mesh is placed here is anterior to the posterior wall. Okay, the majority of the laparoscopy uses posterior to the posterior wall, that is preperitoneal. See, as you can take an example of a small water tank. If there is a leak, if you plug anything from outside the tank and from inside the tank, obviously you know which is plugged from inside the tank remains more firm and it is better. If you plug any leak from outside, it is always a risk for again leak. So it's the same principle that is called Pascal's principle of pressure. The pressure exerted by the contents of the container is equal on all sides of all the walls of the container. That is the Pascal principle, which is used in laparoscopy. So along with that, there are some like a Nyhus repair or Stoppas repair, which uses the same plane. So there is no fixation. Here, what is commonly used is Lichtenstein's, which is anterior to the posterior wall. So if you do not fix properly, the walls of that area is already weak, so it can come to the non-fixed area. So that is the common cause for recurrence in this type of repair.
Abhishankar,
Yes.
what are the features of strangulated hernia and how do you manage it?
Strangulated, it has obstruction.
Okay.
Then irreducibility. Then there is pain in the swelling. Then tender and tensed.
Okay.
Then generally patient looks toxic, and he has features. He has vomiting.
What actually in a strangulated hernia? Obstruction along with the
obstruction, blood supply.
Reduced blood supply.
Yeah,
Okay.
compromise.
There will be patient will come with like sudden increase in the size and pain and okay, all those things.
So here blood supply is important. Already he has got obstruction, that is inevitable. Already it is obstructed. Here blood supply is important. So within short span you should operate and relieve. Otherwise it will go for gangrene.
How do you manage strangulated hernia? What operation or what do you do?
So after opening the
initially resuscitation, if the patient is in shock and all, you can do resuscitation.
Yes.
Okay, after that,
then
opening
after opening, look for which
what
part
opening? Where you open?
Above the inguinal ligament.
Not like that, man. Which I mean, suppose there is a sac.
Fundus.
Neck of the sac. Fundus.
Opening at the fundus.
No. Before that, where you give the incision?
Usually
in normal hernia, you give above the inguinal ligament, right?
Yes, sir.
Where you give in case of strangulated obstructed hernia?
Where the inflammation is more, means bulging is more, that part.
So lower inguinal scrotal incisions. Lower down. Okay, lower down. Okay. Then
nick at the fundus of the swelling.
Why not at the neck?
Because injury.
Okay, injury is okay.
One thing. Second thing, what it will contain? Any obstructed or strangulated hernia? What it will contain?
Because all the bowels are congested, so extravasation of the contents into the peritoneum, abdominal cavity.
So you,
Plus,
you
you
should
don't
prevent
know.
toxic contents.
See, it is you are opening in the idea that it is only strangulated. It might have already necrosed also or infected also. You don't know.
Yes.
So before knowing what is the status of content, it's not wise to reduce it, because if it gets reduced immediately, then you have to open the abdomen like doing an open laparotomy. So to avoid that, you open at the fundus area and see the contents and take
Viable or
out the contents, means fluid and all. Then you do the repair.
You should prevent, one thing is you should prevent toxic fluids entering inside abdomen. Second thing is whether you should check whether the content is viable or not.
Viability of the
Okay.
If you have a doubtful viability, what to do?
Viability.
Then first ask the
What do you do? Yeah,
anesthetist to give 100% oxygen. Then with the hot
Okay.
hot sponging
Very good.
hot
Hot
sponging
baths.
of the bowel. Then look after 5 to 10 minutes. Look for the viability of the bowel, like
Color changes. Color changes. The
lusterless.
pale.
Lusterless.
Yeah.
It looks if it is not viable means lusterless. If it is viable means it is shiny.
Okay.
Then look for the pulsations.
If it's viable, what you will do? If it's not viable, what you
Viable
will do?
means reducing and repair of the hernia. If it is not viable means a resection of the
What repair? Repair what? What repair you do now?
herniorrhaphy.
Yes.
Very good.
Correct.
Very good. Then
Why
if
not
it's not viable,
hernioplasty?
Sir,
why not hernioplasty?
Why do you prefer
hernioplasty
herniorrhaphy?
more the chance of infection
Yeah.
in hernioplasty.
Yeah.
If
Correct.
it's non-viable,
Non-viable means resection of the dead part and reconnection of the bowel.
anastomosis.
Then
Re-anastomosis.
re-anastomosing of the bowel. Then herniorrhaphy itself.
What is well reducing? You should be very careful. Okay. Do you know what is reduction en masse?
Reduction of the gangrenous bowel into the abdomen by taxis.
Along with the obstruction.
Okay.
No, while doing taxes, it's done. Along with the that constricting agent is there. No, along with
Yes,
that
sir.
only if it's reduced. Okay. Then the constriction persists, so that they can go for further gangrene and all inside the abdomen. Okay. So step by step we have to reduce.
Okay.
What is Gareth stricture? You know what is Gareth stricture? All PGs. This is all for PGs. Okay. Questions.
The constriction at the
Very good.
necros bowel after reduction.
Okay. What are the causes for irreducibility?
Irreducibility, adhesion between the contents, adhesion between the content and the sac, and adhesion between the sac itself.
Sunil sir, how is his preparation level? Sir, he's prepared well, no?
Yeah. See, one thing is you cannot cover the whole thing with all questions. Means you might be like, we might have missed what is Richter's hernia, Litter's hernia, Meidel's hernia. Means there are other line of questions. It is not possible to cover all the questions, but definitely we have covered the majority of the means. This shows that if you take the examiner in one direction, the direction goes there. So usually what I would tell the UGs or even PGs for that matter, your strong area is usually in the surgery and related, means after the diagnosis. Okay. So you should not stumble somewhere in the history or examination. What happens is in the idea of helping you, what the examiner tries to do is he goes one step below. Means you are not getting the diagnosis or the surgery properly. Is he will try to give clue in the area where you are not really sure of. Like for example, if you don't know what is the structure which is there, he will ask where does it come from, what is its origin. That means he has gone to anatomy. See, by this time definitely, see, you would have read the anatomy, that is different, but you are not very sure, you are not crisp in that area, you are more unsure in that area. If you do not answer that question, he will go one more step below, that is embryology, which you totally you would have forgotten by now. Okay, that is the usual line of questions in examination. So always don't wait, keep the examiner in the suspense. Like you might have thought that this answer I know, I will keep it for last. Don't do like that. So whatever you know, you just go on telling.
Yes.
Tell it more confidently and clearly. And
Yes, sir.
one more thing is, here no arguments, but some people
Sir, one
really
question,
argue.
sir.
So do not argue.
Sir.
Yeah.
Ravi Shankar, after a few days after the, like 1 month or after the operation, there is a sinus near the where you operated, near the incision site. There is a sinus. What is
Okay.
suspect? And how do you
So,
manage?
the wound dehiscence.
You know sinus, right?
Yes, sir.
Sinus
Not wound
is already
dehiscence.
formed.
Sinus.
What is the common cause for a sinus?
Discharge is there from
Yes.
pus discharge is coming. Okay.
Infection.
What is suspect?
Mesh.
Very good. Infection of what?
Mesh.
Ah, very good. Mesh infection. So what do you do now? Mesh infection. How do you manage mesh infection?
Removal of the suture means
What?
Letting
Suture.
of-
Which are infected, you
Yeah,
take it
that's
out.
it.
I take it, remove of the suture and take the mesh out. Then
That's only management.
No, take first
Then?
step for culture
then-
sensitivity.
Okay.
Okay. Culture
And-
sense.
At anywhere you take out the pus, any IND you do, ideally you should send for anything you take out from the body, you should send for culture or biopsy. That's the rule. Okay. Anything you
Okay,
take
sir.
out.
Mesh
That's the
removal is
rule.
not the first thing to do. Okay, you have to try to give a conservative management as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
If conservative
Yeah.
management with IV antibiotic course for at least for 2 to 3 weeks, and still the patient condition worsening and first discharge not
Okay.
coming into control, then we have
Okay.
to think of mesh removal.
Okay.
For
Sunil
PG
sir, any
said,
concluding remarks?
yeah, just this thing, if sinus is there, first thing you should find out is who are all involved in the surgery. Majority of the
Culprits.
cases, it is foreign body.
Yeah.
Means once a sinus is formed, usually it is not the
Yeah.
infection, it is
Foreign
a
body.
foreign body. Usually.
Yeah, foreign.
Yeah. Yeah, you have done well, Ravi Shankar. Don't worry about the questions which are not answered.
Okay, sir. Thank
Aim
you.
for 100%, but you can only think of answering better than 7, 8. You are already a good student.
Okay, sir.
The
Thank you, sir.
They
idea
just
of-
started, sir. They just started final year and not even
Yeah,
attended
yeah.
one surgery post meetings.
That's
And
what.
they're
Good.
doing brilliant. After 1 year,
Yeah.
when you go as the examiner to Shivamogga, see, you can see the next level of Ravi Shankar.
No,
Sure, Ravi Shankar.
Prepare well, okay? Take it positively, Ravi Shankar, okay? What
Okay,
sir told,
sir. Thank
take
you.
it everything positively and prepare
one
well.
more thing
Okay, you've
is-
done really well.
Exams, you come comfortably to the diagnosis, you are already passed. So you should try to get all difficult questions so that you already passed and getting good marks.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. All the best.
Sir,
Ravi
one
Shankar.
question.
Yeah.
If the patient has direct hernia on one side, indirect hernia on other side, how do you manage? They're asking. You will answer, I'll tell.
Yeah. Direct hernia, indirect hernia does not matter. Whether it is
Treatment is
symptomatic and if it needs surgery, it needs surgery. What is
Same
the
surgery you
presentation?
do.
So currently what we are ideally is laparoscopy, where you can address both sides at one. Open surgery, if we want, ideally by theory we have to do NIAS or Stoppa's repair, which is one incision and both sides we can do. But practically not many people follow Stoppa's. So what they do is bilateral lichen stents. One side PG will be doing, another side their staff will be doing. That's the usual practical course.
Sir, is there any contraindication for bilateral hernia repair? Sir, someone recently asked me why the earlier professors, they
Okay.
don't do bilateral at once. Why is the reason, sir? I didn't find any in any books.
No, there is no contraindication as such. There
Kishan,
are,
can I comment on this thing?
Yeah.
Usually in pediatric age group, earlier there was a consensus that to explore the both groins. Okay. The recent why we are not doing bilateral groin exploration is if there is injury at one side, either testicular vessels or a spermatic cord. Okay. And then there will be chance of injuring the bilaterals at a time. So it is a risky thing. We have to explore only one side which is involved in at least a pediatric age group. In adults, it's easy to.
No, I'm asking if both the sides of bilateral hernia is there.
No,
So
there
it's
is no
open. Oh, I am not
contraindication.
There is no contradiction.
There is no
Okay.
contradiction. We can do in same setup.
Probably they wanted to have more money.
No, sir. I feel they take 2 hours, 3 hours for one side repair. This spinal anesthesia, whatever they give, that lasts for 1.5 hours. That may be the reason.
Yeah.
I
So
thought.
nowadays laparoscopy has changed a lot of principles. Plus, majority of the centers inguinal hernia is being done in local anesthesia now. So it's
Yeah.
not a
But that I wanted
Yes,
to
sir.
comment. He's in last side. He has written as I wanted to on a spinal
Spinal.
anesthesia. He has committed. So I wanted to comment, but it's okay. Like
Yeah.
he
UGs
should
you
give
can
it an
tell.
open question
Yeah,
to the
no
exam.
problem. Correct.
Yeah.
Dr. Krishna Rao, any concluding remarks for students from your side about hernia?
Yeah, good presentation, Ravi Shankar. One thing I just wanted to ask him, like, what is the difference between inguinal canal in a pediatric age group and adults? If he can answer, Ravi Shankar.
Yeah. Or you can ask what is the why there is no direct hernia in case of children.
Yeah, that's okay. But what is the
Ravi Shankar?
basic difference of the inguinal anatomy in the pediatric age group and adults?
Ravi Shankar has muted, I think. You should unmute him.
I'll. Ravi Shankar. Okay, Ravi Shankar unmuted.
Sir, in pediatric age group, deep inguinal ring and superficial inguinal ring are superimposed. And
Okay. And also canal is not so oblique as seen in the adults. Okay.
As the muscles start growing, it becomes more and more farer. So then the inguinal canal develops.
yes.
What about in ladies? Why in ladies also for the same reason? There is no direct hernia. Okay. Which is the
And,
most common hernia in ladies?
Inguinal hernia.
One question I will ask, it is a good question for more marks. Suppose if I cut the cord contents in male, so obviously you know testicular atrophy, sterility, all those things are.
Yes.
Suppose an inguinal hernia is there in female, and I will go and cut the contents. What is the content of inguinal hernia in female?
It's a basic question. Yes, tell me.
No.
Round
Everyone, sir, hernia means only males.
Round-
Males will get hernia.
round ligament. Round ligament.
Round ligament, yes, round ligament, and plus other things are there. Okay, I will
Yes.
cut it. What happens?
Weakness. Uterus weakness of the.
Yes, I am also seeing in the chat section, all of people are putting prolapse, uterine prolapse, support lost, everything. See, this is the common trap which is usually asked. The uterus is not really supported by round ligament. It is not primarily support of uterus. It is a part of supporting system, but it is not primary support. Uterus will not fall if you cut the round ligament.
Okay.
Okay. So what happens is, what you forgot to see in the question is, what I'm cutting is, what is left inside. What is outside? What happens to a round ligament after coming out of the body? Where it goes? It has come to inguinal canal, then goes where?
Attaches to where?
Here there is no scrotum, no? So where it is going?
What's the counterpart of scrotum?
The labia major.
Yeah. So what should happen actually? That particular part side, whichever you have cut, will it will lag down.
Okay.
Okay, that's all will happen usually. So uterus will not fall. Okay.
So what sir is telling is, see, there's got a anatomy. Hernia is all about anatomy. Okay, be perfect with the anatomy. All the questions, Hasselbalch triangle, this, that, this, contents, everything they'll ask you. We should be perfect with the anatomy, inguinal canal. Okay, watch videos if you don't understand. Watch 3D videos for better understanding. Okay, Dr. Rao, any comments from your side? Final concluding remarks.
Yeah, a good presentation
So,
overall.
wonderful session.
I also enjoyed. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, but actually,
And it was, Sunil sir,
actually we can't touch all the aspects of the hernia.
we can't do it in 2 hours. Yeah, that's right. Sunil sir, I should admit that this was literally a comprehensive clinical class. You have tried to cover most of the things in your discussion. So thank you so much, sir. We need your valuable support and guidance in the future also. And please, whenever you free, please take classes for us and teach
sure.
us from your knowledge and experience. Experience counts really. And this
I am
generation,
not
your
so
generation has got
experienced,
very good
Still
knowledge.
hair,
I should tell,
still hair
they
is
are
there.
far
I
better
am
than
not
us.
so.
Sir, knowledge wise, they are far better than us also. I should tell that frankly. This new students are,
Sure.
they have very good knowledge, but
Correct.
experience is different altogether. Nobody can beat the experience. So
Correct.
from both, the combination of both, we need your guidance, sir. And
Sure, sure.
thank you for being the mentor of
Sir.
the White Army surgery. Dr. Rao, thank you so much,
Yeah.
man. You are our boy. I need
Yeah.
not say, especially mention. And
Sir, one
you're
doubt.
doing well in PGI Chandigarh. Continue to do so. Help so many kids and
Okay.
help us also. Meanwhile, when are you free? And thank you, Ravi Shankar, and thank you all the
Thank you.
members for joining and getting benefited out of these sessions. Thank you so much.
Sir,
Good night, sir. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you so much. And Saturday we'll be having mass per abdomen discussion. Again, sir will be the mentor
Yes.
for in the Saturday also. Please join for the same also. Thank you so much.
Sir,
Thank
sir,
you.
one doubt,
Government
sir.
also something.